Hey there, Cathal. How you doing? Welcome to YouTube New Music Monday.
Yeah. It's exciting to be here.
It's really exciting to have you here. And the first most important question I have to ask for you is, why is your nickname actually Pump?
Long story. Long, short story.
Yeah.
I feel like the nicknames that stick don't have like a good story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but it was very early days in the band, and I was just getting to know the guys. They were in the year below me.
Yeah.
In BIMM, and one guy, he's not in the band now. Matt Wilson called me Pumpy or whatever. He just said it a couple of times, and I just said, I was like, why do you keep calling me that? What is that from? And off the cuff, they just all acted like, no, everyone calls you Pumpy. All the people we know.
There's gaslighting.
They call you that, whatever, like that. And I was like, oh, whatever. And then later on, I was at a different group. I was just like, have you guys ever called me Pumpy around anyone else? And they're like, they just laughed. They're just like, not at all. Went into the next day of rehearsal and just laughed at. But it then stuck. You know, it's been here since.
As all great nicknames do. And it's crazy that you said in there, the moment you said year below, I was going to ask, like, are you a BIMM band? And you confirmed it. What is it about BIMM in Ireland? Because I found out recently Fontaines DC went to BIMM as well. Like, were you there at the same time as them? It seems like the pipeline of talent is crazy out there.
Yeah. I mean, everyone, and there was a lot of exciting stuff coming from BIMM at the time. And probably still is as well. Sorry, I didn't mean. no
fire the shots. No, it peaked with you guys. Obviously, it's all downhill since then. There's loads of bands that were coming out of the bin then. I'm just going clueless now because I'm on a live stream. But yeah, Fontaines were around it then. Odd Morris, but they weren't a BIMM band. Who else was playing with us around? I mean, I can't fucking. There's so many. I mean, there's a few that I feel like you might know, which I'll bring up later on. So we'll get to it. The second thing I want to say is, I know this from your Discord profile picture. Futurama fan, I'm guessing, because we've got Hypnotoad. Hypnotoad is Cathal's profile picture on Discord. So I was lucky to avoid that. I'm still feeling like my unhypnotized self.
All hail. All the questions will be Futurama.
Oh, yes, big fan of Futurama. Do you think it's better than The Simpsons? I feel like that was a popular opinion in like 2009.
Yeah, no, I don't feel. I love early seasons of both those shows.
For sure.
And both those shows have come back and or lasted long, and I have never really been a fan of anything past a certain point.
Absolutely. I'm sticking to the old school Simpsons. I think it's a safe place to be. I want to ask a few questions from chat, and if you guys are here, whether you know Cathal No Murder Capital or you don't, please do feel free to ask questions away in chat, and I'll put them to him. So, firstly, we've got a question from Rihivi, which is a bit of a traditional one. He asks to all of my guests. He's all the way in Finland, and he says, "Do you like mangoes?"
I heard this. I had to stream up beforehand. I heard that this is like a common question, but only in the last year, really. I actually was a really picky eater. Used to be a picky eater, and I started eating kind of citrus fruits like a year ago.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm ashamed to say, but I love all that stuff now.
I love that. I have you seen that meme of like the ultimate Tesco meal deal, where it's like the big tub of mango, the smaller tub of mango, and the mango Loco Monster energy drink? Well, if you're probably not missing out on much there. But if you want to go for it, that's the way to go to get your citrus fruit. Jade in Latvia says, "I feel threatened. His name is the murder capital." Where did the name from the band come from? She's only messing around.
Don't feel threatened. It's more of a mental health, a cry out for our mental health. You know. It came from the kind of the inception of the band name. We were playing shows originally under James McGovern.
Okay. Is he an author?
And
James McGovern.
No, he's the singer.
Oh, okay. It rings a bell. I was like, oh no. Maybe he should be an author.
Could be. Yeah, I think he has a few stories to tell.
It sounds like a Yates maybe.
Yeah, Keats.
It's,
He sadly he had a close friend pass by suicide around the same time we were looking for a name, and there was this conversation on at the time as well about the lack of mental health services there was in Ireland, you know, and James saw his friend Paul Kern directly affected by that, you know, that if that guy had accessible mental health institution or accessible services that could have helped him during that time. Like there's a waiting list, you know, there's with all those things, it's not like you get looked after then and there. And I guess if only, you know, you never know.
Yeah.
But if only that's kind of that service was more available to people who needed it.
For sure. I mean, I think especially in these days post-COVID, we live in a kind of the most connected and the most isolated time at the same time. Like, I think we've all had our own journey with it. I know I had a really like rough patch around 2022, and it was just like, it took for me, my like best friends to physically come over to my house and kind of drag me out. Do you feel like it needs to be something that comes from the state to support people more? Or do you feel like there needs to be more of a culture, whether it's with men specifically or just people, of kind of going really kind of out of your own way if you can to kind of drag your friends out of the dark places they might get into?
I obviously a great sense of community is a brilliant thing to have.
Yeah.
You know, if you have great friends, you get that's priceless. But like for those situations where it's professional help that you need, you know, the state really should be on top of that, you know. It's great having friends, but there's a point where another voice maybe needs to come into the room.
Absolutely.
That is that could be just a bit more focused and I don't know if not the words biased, or, but you know what I mean. They're not tainted by the friendship or by upholding this thing. That there actually is a professional relationship there of like, we want you to get well, or you want to get well, and what can we do to make that happen?
Absolutely. I mean, I went through therapy, and it was so great for me as well. So if anyone out there is actually debating whether to do it, please like go for it 100%. And yeah, I mean, I love what you said there about community, because I think as well, a lot of the kind of rhetoric we have quite now is like, oh, if anyone's feeling bad, like don't be afraid, like reach out to me. Or like always just message your friends and ask like, are you okay? But I always feel like that's a kind of strange thing to ask, and I think it's more important almost to just every single week just be the person to not be like, are you okay? But to try and create something or do something that's going to make that person's life better. Even if it's just like sending them something that's not about their mental health that they might like or find funny, or inviting them to go out for a walk. It's just kind of being a thoughtful person that can hopefully change the situations.
I'm happy to hear you're at the other end of that stuff as well, you know.
Yeah,
it's a different kind of journey. I'll also add to that anyone who's like thinking of or has kind of it's been weighing on them or nervous about taking medication, definitely try it. Definitely give it a go, because I kind of say medication like saved me, you know.
Wow.
You know, you can't help yourself if you're debilitated by it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whether it's depression or anxiety, and anything you can do to get yourself out of a place to actually start doing the work on yourself. Whether, you know, people get worried about whether they'll be on medication for their whole life or any of that stuff, and I think that worry really comes from a stigma. You know, because like, what are you comparing that to? Do you want to be debilitatingly depressed?
Yeah.
You know, like what's the the actual kind of logical resolution here is like there's a way where you can figure out how to live with this.
Yeah.
And I'm on Prozac, and it's been incredible for me, because I have a lot of kind of like OCD tendencies that just that really helps with.
That's amazing as well for you. It's really interesting, because I'm the kind of other end where I didn't have medication. Like, I was offered it at one point, and I think maybe I was lucky in the way that I didn't need to function like in a productive way for a few months. So I was able to like totally take myself out and then kind of naturally get back. But I know for some people, like, I have a good friend who medication for her is like it's just what helps our function. So it's cool to know, yeah, you shouldn't have a stigma about trying it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if it doesn't work, also
ask your doctor.
It mightn't work, and then you're like, I'm still fucking depressed. Talk to your doctor. There's loads of different things you try, and it's a longer process, but it's definitely worth it.
That's the tender heart of the murder capital. Fonces says, amazing name by the way. Love the Fontaines DC reference.
That's not a Fontaines DC reference.
Is it not? Fonces is not.
No. That's an Undertale reference.
That's I love Undertale, but I didn't get that reference. So what is that, like an Undertale ship? Thank you for correcting me on that. We've got to get the games right.
No. I know who that is.
So you know who it is. Well, question for
I know
Cathal.
who that is.
You enjoy playing games. Do you play any MMOs? I mean, we talked a little bit about gaming because you were telling me you were watching some speed runs when we were doing our test call. So yeah, what games do you like? Are you an MMO player?
I have fully been back on World of Warcraft since
really?
October. Yeah.
Hooked on it.
Oh, even just like touring just takes me away from the laptop at this point. But yeah, it was a game I played since I was like, when I was like 15 or 16 for like a year or two.
Yeah.
Dropped off, and then I don't know, Boncest and a couple of other friends I've played with. It's been good.
I'm glad. Cresty just says Cathal's a World of Warcraft, the degenerate like me, in chat. But I used to play this MMO called Rebirth RO, which was kind of like a slightly left field one to World of Warcraft. And obviously there was like RuneScape as well, which was huge back in the day. Have you played Undertale yourself while we're on that? Because I played Undertale quite a bit when it first came out.
I haven't really, to be honest.
Okay.
I tried giving it a go, and I was really not in the mood for the
pixel art style. Oh, the pixel art style. I thought you were going to be like the moral lectures.
No. I guess it's what do you call it? Turn-based kind of stuff, or like the kind of back and forth.
Turn-based.
It was just eating my time. I was like, sometimes I love a game. When you want to sit down and it's like very fast-paced.
You want a bit.
And I play World of Warcraft.
I mean, maybe it can be fast-paced. You could have said like Fortnite or COD or FIFA. So it could be. Did you kill anyone in Undertale?
That was like the first thing I did. I don't have any.
You were straight away like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck this random ghost.
Complaining about it, and it's like a ghost that's sad or whatever. And
you killed Napster Bluke?
Whatever.
Tell me you didn't kill Napster Bluke.
I don't know who that is, but I'm pretty sure whoever they are would be dead. If it was my playthrough, if I finished the game, it would be like it'd be a bloodbath.
You were just like natural true genocide. You didn't even need the chat to like edging you on. It's like devil on each shoulder. Absolute bombshell there. Okay, big shout out to Hearty Eyes Alice in chat, who says, Pumpy, what bands and artists are you loving at the moment that we should check out? And she also says, any hyperpop... Oh no, it's Yaz who says, any hyperpop recommendations? So I guess those questions can merge.
Oh, well, actually, I listened to this record with a friend today. Genuine Dexterity by Kenny Seagal and KDI.
Yeah, I think I might have played a track from that earlier. It's an interesting one.
Crushed Heavenly, right? That track is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, it is wild. It is such a cool use of samples, and when you listen to the record as well, his delivery is just relentless. Like, it's almost too much by the end. Things start to slow down by the end, which is nice. And then you have this really weird track at the very end where there's not so much of a defined beat, but there's this kind of abstract loop.
Yeah.
Where it's just so he's aggressive on it, or he's just like consistently on this kind of momentum over on top of this loop that it just feels emotional by the end of it. Like, it kind of takes you on a story with him. And that's only after one listen. It definitely needs a couple of listens. It's one of those albums where I just really enjoyed, and I'll go back to loads. Let's say any new hyperpop. I don't want to say something hyperpop that isn't. Is there any I'm trying to think if I have any secret hidden gems.
I think Clarence Clarity is hyperpop. I always get him requested on stream. I think More Kismet might be. I like More Kismet. Obviously, you've got the obvious ones like 100 Gex, but I don't know how new that is. I mean, I'd written on my notes, by the way, that I'd seen you were a fan of stuff like Death Grips and 100 Gex, and I actually was listening to the album and thinking you can hear a bit of that in the Murder Capital. that there's a bit
Oh,
of that
really?
hyper energy, whether you'd call it math rock or hyperpop, coming in places. I mean, do you think that's fair? Do you think it comes through intentionally?
I mean, I loved that last record from 100 Gex. So if that made its way through,
Yeah.
I want to know where you hear that on the record, to be honest. But I mean, that was on repeat when we first toured America. I was doing everyone's head in by playing that in the van all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone in the band is as big a fan of 100 Gex as myself.
It's interesting. Yeah.
But I don't know if Joey Valence and Bray does
Yeah.
that count as hyperpop? And it's not really like it's doing like an old school thing, but I think the fact that it does it so extremely, this style and this aesthetic, and it really takes it to a point. Can you categorize that as hyperpop? You know, because before, like early days hyperpop, it wasn't a distinctive sound as it is now in Charlie XCX.
Yeah.
It was more of just like a kind of cultural decision to just like take whatever aesthetic and do it to the max, almost like make it so silly, and it just becomes better that way.
But I wasn't certain if people would call Brat hyperpop, because I feel like Brat is kind of hyperpop with a like pop capitalized, but then you have stuff like JPEG Mafia, which is like hyper, and it's so much more distorted than Charlie, and it is of course a spectrum. It was actually
also
go on.
How I'm feeling now, Charlie XCX is the better album.
I thought you'd be. Hey, I'm gonna go back. There's a SoundCloud demo of one of her songs called Francesca, and I found that, and I was, that's a banger. Do you know it?
I do not know that.
Listen to Francesca. Yeah, I'm like, it's the one up on the hipsterism. But yeah, no, Lucas, who's in my chat, he's actually Irish as well. He's one of my regulars. He was always saying that Charlie album is better. The one thing that it winds me up a little bit though, that there are people now who are like the big Charlie stans on Twitter who are sort of like, oh, a lot of people weren't here before Brat, and it shows. And I was sort of like, you know, guys, I appreciate the passion you have, but I saw Charlie XCX open for Paramore in like 2012, 2013 or something. She wasn't like an underground artist before Brat.
Yeah, surely like. What do you call it? I don't care. You know, the one.
Yeah, Iconopop. Yeah, exactly. That was so viral, but it's like, it's crazy. It's generational cycles where people almost like forget how big that was. But I mean, she's a new level. Yeah, it's a short-term memory, but it feels.
People say David Bowie dropped off. You know what I mean?
I mean, Black Star was a lot of people's favorite Bowie album, so I don't know about that. Yeah. It sounds like
he dropped off.
Yeah, literally. It sounds like Alice and Yaz and chat are really waiting for a hyperpop playlist, and maybe they've been waiting for a long time.
I think they have, yeah. They need to get to a DJ set, and I'll drop a few hyperpop tunes.
Well, is there a DJ set that might be following your set in Birmingham this Thursday at the XOYO? Because I heard a rumor.
There is.
So I don't know. I don't know where you guys are in chat, but you should all. I keep telling you because I'm in Birmingham. Everyone should come to Birmingham. It's a beautiful city with a great live music scene. Hotels are cheap. There's a lot of Irish community in Birmingham. There's some great Irish bars near where Murder Capital are playing at the XOYO. And you might hear some hyperpop tunes on the DJ set from Cathal.
I promise there'll be hyperpop. If you come to Birmingham, there'll be hyperpop.
Absolutely. In LA, please, says Alice. Do LAX to BHX. Just come over to Birmingham. I promise. It's just they call it the LA of England. Birmingham. I've heard we have a Hollywood sign somewhere. I'm in Finland.
Yeah, Ozzy Osbourne spends his time between Birmingham and LA.
He does. You know, that's the goal. That's the goal. We wanna make that a common thing. Hope wants to know how were you able to have a range of different listeners in the UK and Europe, and how are you able to promote it? Hope is in a band called Indisposed who are new in Birmingham, so that would be good advice to someone young in a band for that.
Repeat the question there.
Oh, so Hope says, how were you able to have a range of different listeners in the UK and Europe? And how are you able to continue promoting to like those different listeners around the world?
You mean like in terms of like just like taste or age?
I guess just different demographics and kind of keeping a fan base that's worldwide engaged with your music. Like, is there a particular effort to engage people from specific countries, or is it more just, I guess the internet now is global inherently. We're all quite connected.
I mean, it's kind of sad, but you got to play shows around. You know, you got to be around people's. I think some people don't take you seriously until you're in their neighborhood. You know?
particularly starting off, and then you kind of get respect in picking up people who will just stay with you in each city, and that encourages word of mouth. Then by the next time you're back, kind of level up those shows, and then you just hope that whenever the releases come out, that they're with you there.
Yeah. I think that there is a lot to be said for being on the ground, because we're obviously in such a TikTok-ified age. When you're physically there in front of someone and you're making that impression, I think that's lasting. My advice actually is, if you're in a band, start doing Twitch and streaming, because I think this sort of thing is a lot more natural than TikTok. Like, a lot of people on Twitch now just do live sessions performing music, and I think that's a really good way to build an audience. And I don't know how you feel about it, Cathal, but I think it's a bit unfair that these days a lot of new artists are expected to be good at TikTok when it's such a different skill set to writing a great album. Like, imagine Tom York from Radiohead being told to do TikTok now. If he'd come through 20 years later, like.
Yeah, that's you kind of, I might actually do a few live streams myself. I've been doing live streams in our Discord.
Oh, sick.
Which is like, that's been really nice.
Yeah.
And it's kind of kept prompting the idea of doing it in my head, and we've had conversations about our socials with management, and maybe it would be a thing of live streaming just being more natural and more I think the pace of it would help, the fact that it's not this like trying to get someone's attention.
It's not the kind of bombardment. You can just relax and be yourself, and I think everyone in the chat is really appreciating hearing you talk, because you have a lot of interesting things to say, and you don't have to filter that when you're doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Really good question from Cloverman in chat. You've been to Japan recently. How was it? And I can tie that in as well, because I noticed you were in New Zealand alongside that, and you had this amazing picture of like a sculpture of Gandalf riding an eagle from Wellington.
Yeah.
So how was that? What would you call it? Like the Australasia, like East Asian leg of the tour. How was that?
Oh, I mean, that's been a dream, like a pipe dream. Do you know what I mean? That's like. When you start a band, you're like, I love the idea of going over and playing Tokyo sometime. Just
For
like,
sure.
And New Zealand, I think, is literally as far as you can get from Ireland.
Like, other side of the world.
It's the other. Yeah. It's if Ireland's the face, we know where New Zealand is. It's I don't know. We land in there, and Tokyo just blows our minds. It just blows all our fucking minds, and we're just in awe the whole time. Met a load of friends over there. Had great nights out, and it was all like in 4 days. And it was kind of with that mentality, when you're inspired by a place.
Yeah.
That you have that mentality of just like, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah, exactly. It's a city that doesn't sleep, I think, Tokyo, from what I see.
Oh, and they have all the cool hi-fi bars and the food. It's just it's gorgeous. Yeah. And then I was thinking like, I might be on a bit of a downer heading to like New Zealand, Australia afterwards, but I'll like obviously still enjoy them. There'll be new territories.
Yeah.
But it's like, no wonder a load of Irish people go over there. It's beautiful.
Is that a really thing? Like the Irish to New Zealand community that's interesting.
A really big immigration towards like a lot of people have friends in Ireland that have all moved over there, and then they find somebody. Usually they meet another Irish woman or something, and that's it. They have a whole family.
That's all they need.
Stay over there. Yeah, like I mean, Irish people are everywhere, but literally, I was going around New Zealand, and every gig that we played, every New Zealand and Australia, I bumped into a cousin. One of them, a cousin we didn't plan on meeting. I was just at a bar. I turned around, and we just saw each other, and it was like, "What are you doing here?" Both of us, and he's just like on holiday in Wellington. But yeah, I mean, I've kind of been contemplating going back to Australia for Christmas now.
Well, isn't our Christmas their summer though? So you're really going to be cooking yourself, having barbecues on the beach on Christmas Day.
Oh man, that's the life, isn't it?
I rate that. So there you go. My goat pump. Big shout out to Alf in chat. How are the fans in Tokyo? How did you find that? Because I guess for me in England, I know that South American audiences are crazy. But I've seen a lot of even like medium-sized indie bands, like I'm mate to the band called Spin, and they went over to Tokyo recently because they've got a strong following there. And I feel like there's a lot of passion for UK indie actually outside. Well, obviously you're not UK indie, but like UK and Irish indie outside of the UK and Ireland.
They're passionate people. They are really like, we said because we're in Japan, you know, we'll all be at the merch desk or whatever afterwards, sign or take pictures, whatever you want to do. And they had just had, I mean, it felt like the whole fucking gig was just, you know, when you sign up for something as well, you're like, holy shit.
The meet and greet suddenly has become a thing.
Yeah. And they had the line going out the venue, doing it, but we like met every single person. Some people were like shaking and in tears, and then just really excited.
Oh,
and
wow.
it was just really special. Do you know? I was like, oh fuck! It's wild that we were writing something here.
Yeah.
Tunes, we picking places, and then we went to the other side of the world, and we still had this kind of really beautiful reaction.
Absolutely, it's the power of music, and it really crosses borders. And it's so nice that there's a universal language, you know, in kind of a polarized time that crosses those borders. I guess on the actual album, which is, it's great that we, you know, I feel like we can talk about so many things, and we haven't even talked about the album yet. But I was actually getting a bit of shoegaze from it in places. Like, do you think that's a fair comparison? Like some of those guitar tones, it's a bit like the kind of 90s My Bloody Valentine. There's a lot going on in the album, but it's a very cohesive and focused one. So yeah, would you think the shoegaze element is a fair one?
Definitely, especially like Moonshot. Moonshot, my guitar tone is a complete inspiration from that My Bloody Valentine approach. And it's funny, I've even like gone further down with the live. In the live venue, my pedals are now a bit more drastic in that way. Like live, I think it's even stronger. I have like a Dynaflange going with this pitch bend, like because Kevin Shields would do a manual pitch bend with his his whammy and just keep doing this, whereas I have like this filter that pitch bends on my attack, and it just feels really cool. Then if you have a really heavy sound going into a reverb, just chugging the guitar and just having the pitch warble and
it's like being swallowed in sound. It must be so fun to be swallowed in sound. I know, like I've been to like music shops at some point and messed around on Korg synth pads when you get the proper looping and the arpeggiators, and you feel like you're immersed in like an Animal Collective record or something deep. Pop. It's so cool. How many pedals do you have though? That's the question. Is it starting to look like Tour de France levels, like all these pedals down?
Let me see. I just recently sent a spec. We got our pedal boards looked at there before Australia. We got our boards kind of. Let me just see how many.
Alf says Moonshot's so heavy live. Yaz is excited to see it. I mean, I think I'm glad the shoegaziness will come out live. You guys can comment in chat how many pedals do you think Cathal has on his rig. I'm expecting like somewhere between like Ed Sheeran's one loop pedal and Russell from Block Party's 38 or whatever he's got.
He's got 38.
Well, I don't know. All I know is I saw like a behind the scenes of Russell from Block Party, and the amount of pedals he's got. It's obviously when you're doing like that deep math rock, there's so much going on. Maybe 38 hyperbole, but there was a lot.
He has got a lot. We supported them, and I was definitely admiring.
Oh, that's amazing.
His board. I've got 17. I know he's got more.
Well, yeah, there you go. So 38 sounds reasonable. Do you ever just
got like the same pedal like a couple of times with each different set? Like I'll change the settings on my pedal.
Yeah,
I'm not there yet. You know, he's got like 3 versions of the same pedal, and they'll have different settings on each one. So he'll just like, oh, this song I hit this one. You know.
Yeah. Do you ever just like hit the wrong pedal though, or be worried that you just hit the wrong effect? Because I think I look at it and I'm just like, it's overwhelming.
Oh man, I'm changing effects while changing synth patches in 1,000 Live. You know, like there's a lot going on in me and Damien's brain when we're just you kind of want to be setting up for the next song, and just like if anyone sees me, maybe why I'm not looking out at the crowd or whatever like that, I'm looking at the set list. I'm thinking, is there certain things in the same key?
Yeah.
Is there notes that transpire into the next thing where I can grab a note and loop it into the next song?
Yeah.
Or have a feedback kind of loop that would set up maybe a rhythm that I could work something into the next song? Or just always thinking about that kind of stuff, and then setting up the patches of a synth while I have something going, or doing it vice versa.
It's really fun. It honestly makes the show really exciting for me.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
hope
glad.
it translates.
I'm
that
sure
way.
it will. I rate that. It's always about the live transitions. You get some gems. Big up to Arnold Goldlust in chat, who says, first question to Pumpy, will there be new tour merch on this tour? Because the Murder Capital has the best merch, the most cool and beautiful. P.S. Pumpy knows who asked this question, apparently.
Yeah. The merch question is going to be Arno. There'll be new merch.
Always. How does the
There'll be
merch? How does the merch work for you guys? Because I feel like obviously when bands start out, it's all them themselves. Do you still have like a very hands-on approach to your merch, or do you get artists to kind of do it for you and then just okay it when it's ready?
Well, it's never just like so. I wish it was simple, but the five of us really love putting our fingers in things.
Good.
You know?
Yeah, you want it that way.
And but sometimes, other times, I guess it's exciting to like, you know, we loved working with artists as well and just getting what they have as well.
Yeah.
But this time around, it's very much from us and the merch company we worked with, kind of a back and forth of what we have a brand. You know, we have this like identity that we want shown, and let's go with that. You know, very simple approach. I'd love to do. We have designs for some kind of more out there things that will come out in the later half of the year. But just as we're starting into this tour, we're kind of the more blanket. This is the murder capital tour, you know.
Yeah, definitely. That's the look. There you go. And Arnold says, "See you next week in London." Thank you. I'm sure we'll see you at the merch desk. I think going through the album as well, one that really stood out for me is "Love of Country," because you suddenly have this really stripped back feeling in an album that's quite frenetic and quite intense. There's that beautiful moment of quiet, and I get a little bit of Radiohead in the guitar. Like, do you have any kind of nuggets of information, stories behind that track, and any other personal favorites on the album for you as well?
Okay. Obviously, big fan of Radiohead.
Yeah.
That track. There was like different versions of that track that existed before. Honestly, like the way it came out was kind of like a gift to us. You know, we had it before. We were working on different things where, well, actually, James showed us the lyrics first.
Yeah.
Right. And we were all like, "That's fucking unbelievable." It's kind of one of those scenarios where he reads his lyrics first, and the music comes later. You know, it's usually even if he's had lyrics before, but usually the way we do it is that we jam something or we bring in our idea and then he puts something on top of it and we can work around this way. But it was one of those times where he showed us the lyrics and we were in awe. And
I mean, I think Horse-Drawn Casket is one that just like leaps out and grabs me. Do you talk about the meanings of the lyrics ever? Because I sometimes stop and hear one. I'm like, wow.
Sometimes I don't ask him and sometimes I do. I don't like, you know, I'm a fan as well. Even I'm in the band. Like, there's the kind of thing as well. I'm a fan of my own interpretation of it as well. But also, there's sometimes I do really want to know what James is saying to me, you know?
It's funny you feel that way, even from inside. And I mean, lead singers and lyricists, like, I've interviewed enough to know sometimes you can't get a straight answer as to what a song's about.
Yeah. Well, but he'd be clear to us if he wanted to know, you know? But, like, just especially in his intentions, because you know he trusts us as well. If he's like, if he is trying to imply something, or if he is trying to convey something, is that coming across?
Yeah.
Is he translating it well? You know, like, and seeing where it falls with us, that interpretation too. So then Irv had the guitar part, but our approach early on really made it into this rock kind of epic thing that there was still love for the song, but it just took the wind out of the sail a little bit for it. We were not too happy with like where it was going, like, and it's like, it's great, the lyrics are great, they say this thing, but every time we try and play it or we go this place, it's like hard that we always build into this thing that just feels so not right and so inappropriate.
Yeah.
And you know, we show it wasn't on the, I don't think it was on the main list of what we wanted to get recorded in the studio, but when we did show John that demo, he was pretty firmly behind it being a great song.
Yeah.
But didn't he was like, well, here's how we'll try it. We'll really strip it back and we'll really go there. And we started kind of jamming it that way in the studio. And there was this ramshackle nature that was appearing. I picked up this like banjo 6-string.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm playing for that track. And
Wow.
it's between kind of me and Irv in that song, there's the commitment to keeping it like balancing on a tightrope the whole time, you know?
Absolutely.
In terms of dynamic and just like the aesthetic of the way we're playing, and we got something. It inspired us, you know. It was just John really changed our approach, and it inspired us, and we ended up like just giving it a whack live, you know.
Yeah.
Just all that stuff, and it's the only track of that album that's just a live take. It's just one live take. We were like, everything that's in that is the take. That's it. No more embellishments. No more trying to do anything in post or any of that crack. You know. It was just like the sentiment was captured for us in that moment. No matter what you feel after this, and everyone will have their word after. Oh, maybe we can do this, or maybe it's like, no, that's what this is.
Yeah.
And it felt right.
It really benefits from it. And I think what really follows on nicely from that is a question from Alice is, what is your favourite Murder Capital lyric that James has written? Are there any that stand out for you? Hold on you.
I do love in Death of a Giant. He's talking about the pharmacist singing outside of the shop, and I'm paraphrasing that, by the way.
That's all right.
When he does sing it, it brings me back. It brings me right back to that moment where at the end of Shane McGowan's funeral, where the horses were coming up, and everyone was gathering, and it was like, I don't know. I haven't been to too many funerals that aren't in Ireland, you know, but there is a real feeling of celebration at an Irish funeral, and fucking for Shane McGowan's death, there was some celebration at the end of that street.
Absolutely.
All of them out with the guitars and singing songs. It was incredible. Heading back to rehearsal after that, and just kind of being in awe of our own culture, and that someone could be celebrated this way, and it just kind of the love that he brought out of us as people, you know.
Yeah. I don't know if you have a wider lyric from another band or artist that you're a fan of that you love as well. I think one I want to throw out there from Fontaines DC, and of course the genius that is Green Chatton, from the track Sunny, is Afraid I Couldn't Make the Call Boy, and it makes me very sad. You'd sooner draft me as a soldier than you'd have me as a dad. Like from Sunny. And I think in terms of like a commentary on masculinity, like that hit me like a ton of bricks when I first heard it. And it still does today. Like I'm sure you appreciate some Fontaines, and whether you have any others like prominent artists that stand out for you.
Oh man, when I'm always put on the spot. I actually saw a fucking video yesterday that made me re-listen to The Clash, London Calling. I think it was like Fred Armisen was talking about the lyrics or something. Of London Calling. The Ice Age is here. Nuclear meltdown. The sun is coming in. And London's drowning, but I live by the river, right? That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I never really thought about it, and then just that they had brought it up, that it's like, the world is doomed, but I don't give a shit. I'll be the first one to go, and I loved that.
Yeah, I love the sentiment. When it hits you, when it's that moment of like breaking something abstract down to something very tangible and relatable. I think that's the beauty of a really good lyric. I think it's you actually kind of alluded to asking me about it earlier, but I have the answer for it. Is what track on the album gives me a bit of the hyperpop. It kind of ties into what track on the album gives me a bit of math rock as well, which is Swallow. I got a bit of Foals on that track. I don't know if you're a fan of Foals, but I'm really into the kind of higher tempo guitars and pitched up stuff.
Death of a Giant, you mean?
Yeah, isn't it Swallow?
Swallow's like the kind of electronic swooshing one.
Yeah. No, I'm sure I'm sure Swallow. I'm sure Swallow was the one I got.
All right. Wow.
Well, there you go. Maybe there's some math rock buried in the mix there, but
that's like it's the one with like the swooshing kind of wave sound.
Yeah. Because it made me think of Spanish Sahara, I think.
Holy shit! Oh yeah, I get that. I get that.
Yeah, there you go. So that makes it's the total life forever. There's different realms. But yeah, that's a good one then. That's a good one. Honored has a third question. Born to Fight from Blindness has not been played on the tour yet. Will Born into the Fight
It has been played.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well it has been played.
It got played in Tokyo. The main reason some songs didn't get played in like New Zealand and Australia was we were debating whether there's like hire company, basically whether we'd have the synth or the piano there. So the set lists were kind of changing for those nights. Depending on the gear, but it'll be played on the. Don't worry, and especially in London where it's getting played, Arno, you'll see.
Okay. He also says, will items be played?
Items.
He says, yeah. Will items played? Maybe I've misread that message, but I assume the question's probably about Born into the Fight. Then is items ITEMS? Do you have a song with those? Is that an acronym for something that I'm not reading? Will it be played? Okay, that's just a typo.
Yeah.
That's just a typo. So there you go. We've got the confirmation. It will be played in London. So both Luis and chat, big shout out to Luis and Yaz, were asking about tour supports. Firstly, Yaz is saying who's supporting the EU tour, and Luis wants to know what's the process of choosing supports like. Do you guys have influence on that, or is it usually done by booking agents?
Oh, yeah, we definitely have influence on it.
That's good.
But hopefully this week, there'll be a confirmation and maybe an announcement. If it's not announced this week, it'll be announced next week. I've been pushing for it to get finalized. But the thing is, like, it's like touring's tough for us. Never mind if you're a support act. I don't think you're getting, there's not really financially a lot available for you. You know, it's an investment on that part, and it sucks. We've been on that end of things. I kind of wish you're in a better place with that.
I think a lot of bands would kill to support you, though. I think they'd love it. Yeah, getting paid £0, I'm sure that the opportunity to be in front of those fans.
Yeah, I don't respect that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like at the end of the day, though, everyone needs to. I don't know if supporting any band should be worth putting yourself in the red for. You know what I mean?
I get that.
But touring puts everyone in the red.
Yeah.
You know? Conflicting feelings. So there's like that thing where it's like we're working through supports and trying to see what suits people. Do these dates suit them? Everyone's busy. Everyone's got an album coming out here. They got this stuff, and trying to find people it suits their time and financially if they can make it available for themselves. And that's been like the main kind of issue of just like trying to find tour supports for EU. But we have a handful that we're just waiting to hear back from this week.
Awesome. And yeah, it means a lot to me. It's nice for me to hear that like you guys as a band are getting to say, because I think I always like it when it's like the bands get a chance to choose. And I don't know, like I do small gigs myself, and I think it's if we ever had like we've got a band called Pentire playing with us in November, and it's very much like I wanted them to have the opportunity, because you see lots of bands tweeting like who should support us in this place or that place, and there is always something at the back of my mind. I'm like, who's tweeting that? Like I really hope that's something cool and authentic, and the band do have that chance to put on the bands. And I'm sure you've got a lot of bands, whether Irish or local, that and could put on.
I'd love to always have that decision. I don't think if that was taken away from us, and that doesn't mean like that'll be me picking the bands every time, but at least that like someone in the band, someone of the five of us is like passionate about seeing someone, because everyone's hungry for it, man. Like everyone wants like a bit of an opportunity or kind of something to come around. And also it's a bit of, I don't know, when you feel like a band that you're a fan of. I'm not saying this about any of the bands that are supporting us or anyway, but it's like when you're a fan of a band and you do get asked on support, and we got asked to do Pearl Jam and Nick Cave, that's like fucking like 15-year-old me is like
buzzing
crying,
inside. Of course.
Like what is this, and it's really affirming. I mean, early on as well, we did a show with Shame and Fontaines, right?
Oh.
We were all in the same scene. I think this is pre-album, like maybe the only one of us that had an album out was Shame.
So pre-Doggerel even.
Pre-Doggerel.
Wow.
And it was a Tivoli show, and it's just like you could feel at the time, but it was just that it was the three of us as well. You could just get a buzz off. You're like, oh fuck, this is class. Like this is,
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. If a band wanted to support you, I guess it's a question that gets asked a lot, but what is actually the most efficient way? Is it like an email to the management, a DM on Instagram to you or one of the bands? Yeah, what would be the go-to?
I've never really discovered anyone that way. I'm gonna be honest. It's usually just someone I've stumbled upon in my own searches of like a band I kind of been listening to recently. Was Deary? Do you know Deary?
Yeah, I do. I've heard the name. I couldn't recite a song, but I've heard the name.
We put on a show in the Shackwell, and we had them headline it, and it was just like I think I just found them on Discovery on Tidal.
So there you go. It's just simple. If you can get on there, it's nice that it's organic.
I'm looking for, I'm always looking for kind of new things that I'm trying to find out. And a lot of musicians are as well. I think an email can feel quite
cold.
We've never gotten a support that way. I'll say that.
Well, that's interesting to know. Yeah, you want to play the odds. We've kind of talked about it's a good time to, I guess, ask the question because we're talking about a lot of other bands. Like, how is Irish alternative music so good at the moment? Because I think of the bands who are like really influencing, international alternative music right now. Obviously, there's Fontaines DC, Kneecap, Inhaler, you guys, New Dad. I didn't even realize New Dad were Irish until I saw a reference to it recently. And I think you know an artist called Kinsey as well. I think who's So
in my year in BIMM.
It's BIMM. It's the BIMM Mafia. But you guys are so good. I saw her support Honeymoon in London at Amira about this time last year, and I was blown away by her. Like, happiness isn't a fixed state. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you think there's a reason that there's just this kind of sudden like concentration of incredible talent around a very specific time frame and a generation of Irish musicians?
I don't know if it's a specific time frame. As you think, like very early days of this band, the question was always like, "What's happening in Ireland? Why is it so good over there?" We're very Irish people are full, like their souls are full up. Do you know what I mean? We've very overflowing souls in this way, and I just whatever we do in art, I feel like it just like spills with humanity and compassion. That I just people love it. They just want to have more of it, and I mean, I'm just a big fan of anything whether it's Irish film or Irish writers. And I don't think it's as strict as the time frame, because like when we were starting the band and we were getting interviewed or any of that crack, so then we were talking about girl band.
Yeah.
Who were we chatting about before that? I mean, they were like my lecturers was Mick Pyro from Republic of Loose. I don't know if you know that band, but like there's all these legends, and it's always been like that.
Yeah, well there you go. I guess you could say you've eddied the heart from Dublin to Paris then. I think you probably played in both. But it's interesting for me. Like I did English at uni, so I've studied bits of like James Joyce, Ulysses. It's the even going further back like Seamus Heaney in poetry. It feels like, especially around Dublin, you guys know how to look after and uplift your own talent. And I think in Birmingham, where I'm from in the UK, that we're still learning to do that now. It's just about how you champion and inspire the people around you. And it's always something I've really admired. And it's clear that the talent is there in the heritage almost. It's like passed down from generations.
Well, I mean, it sounds like you're doing that with I think I heard just before I had the live string on before you called me, and you said you put on a night.
B-Town. It's a monthly indie night, and we've got, you'll like this. We've got PRS Foundation funding, so we give artists 100% of all ticket sales. Like we just give them all of it. Yeah, exactly. 200 cap venue at the Rainbow. This is a really painful one for me, but there's a clash coming up with Thursday and one of my gigs and obviously yours, but you're DJing after, so I'll try and we can get the crowd on. And if you guys ever want to do a secret set in Birmingham in 200 cap venue, get it sweaty.
Oh, that sounds good.
Open invitation. Good, yeah. It's really funny. I was at a talk with Emil and the Sniffers, and I just got up and was like, will you play our 200 cap gig night, please? Because I feel like you got to ask sometimes. And we got the booking agent's email, but I don't know. I think maybe, do you know like about B-Town bands at all, like Swim Deep, Peace and Jaws or anything like that? Or
I know about those first two.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, I mean, I thought there were bits of Murder Capital that I was almost thinking, oh, this could be a bit Peace inspired.
Well, funny you said Peace, because I don't know them personally, but James does. James was friends with them before our band.
Well, there you go.
When they were supporting Foles in the 3 Arena, he was there backstage with them.
Oh,
because I don't know who it is in the band that he's friends with, but they're back together now, right? That's the
no, absolutely, absolutely, and it's just so cool, honestly. But I think that's the thing for Birmingham. It's like we had this era about 10 years ago where all these bands got signed and everyone in London was talking about us. And I think maybe you relate to it being Irish, because I always feel from Birmingham we're constantly in the shadow of London, and people from London won't come to Birmingham. They think it's the north, and people from Manchester, it's like they have that scene in Oasis. So there's this real sense of like otherness and being an underdog in Brum. But we're starting to build up this thing, and B-Town was the time where it just clicked. So I hope we can build up that buzz again. And obviously it's a big thing that you guys are coming to Birmingham, because a lot of bands don't.
Also, I will say maybe there's a shift if you notice that, but I noticed whenever we started playing England the first time, there is a huge audience for the people that travel around England just going to shows.
Oh yeah, it's true. They're dedicated. I mean, I have people.
You wouldn't get that back home.
Yeah, that we have people, which is cool, started to come to my gigs who either watch me on Twitch or just know from elsewhere. We had a girl come from Glasgow, like 8 hours on the coach for the last one, and Phil, who's a regular in my chat, always comes from Manchester. And it's cool, it's in the centre of the country. I think that's the kind of energy, grassroots venues as well, independent venues, like, because we do it at one. That's, I think, what live music needs, because it's quite sustainable at a small level. But a lot of the bands who can actually sell 200 tickets, suddenly you're thinking about a booking agent with lots of people involved, and a figure, because we sell tickets at £5, and it's like you want it to be accessible, but then when there's lots of people who need to be paid, you obviously need to increase that price point.
I mean, that is cool though. If like a band that wasn't going to do 200 caps for say could get a 200 cap room and go to a live agent then with that footage and just be like, look at the show we put on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
honestly, I mean that's the model for me, and I think what we want to do is, like, I literally emailed Foles. It's like, I think it was, I'd seen a tweet from the guy from Play Royale about like, how much do you think we get paid for a 3,000 capacity show? Because it's a lot less than you'd think. And our whole thing is, we give you 100% of the sales you do. So if you sell 200 tickets at £5 at our gig, you'll get £1,000, which is probably a very efficient way for a band of 4 people to play. But there is a limitation. But I think it's nice when it's like, you can strip it down and make it efficient, and it builds a bit of hype for everyone.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think it's great what you're doing.
Thank you very much. I think it's really cool what you're doing. And yeah, I'm really excited for the after party. Do you have to have a ticket to the gig to get into the after party?
I think so. Or there's a ticket. I think you can buy a ticket on the door. But
that's cool.
We'll throw you on guesses.
Oh, thank you, mate. Well, I was going to say, I'll literally buy one. I'll buy one to run to the after party. I will actually, at this point as well, link you guys to the Murder Capital tickets at Birmingham in chat, because everyone should come down. And yeah, tickets are still available for the XOYO. They're only 20 quid, which is pretty like reasonable, I think, as well. And yeah, any surprises, any kind of bits of preview for the Birmingham set and what people can expect?
We've support from Kusk, which should be exciting.
Yeah.
I don't think she has anything out.
Okay.
But I've heard what she's got going on, and I'm excited to see what the show is. You know, so like, as well as us, you know, in terms of for our show, I think we've always had this thing from the first record of the set. Like, people liked our arc, right?
Yeah.
And now I think we feel pretty confident. We have a lot of tunes in that arc that we can swap things out, and kind of the show can change quite a bit, but also we maintain a lot of momentum and we can go on a bit longer, which has been nice. It's been,
I like that.
A couple more mosh pits, you know, like
yeah. I mean, Birmingham should give you that. I'll tell you, it's a really nice venue as well. XOYO. I was watching. It was a pretty crazy gig. It was Swim Deep did a gig there in 2020, and they had Wolf Alice doing a DJ set back when it was called The Mill. And it's a really nice kind of big room where, I don't know, I think when you have like a nice big flat room with a floor and a bit of a balcony, the crowd feels a bit more like ready for it. So yeah, I feel like Murder Capital crowds are probably going to be pretty rowdy anyway. I wouldn't expect you'd have a problem there.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got a funny question because I remember I've logged a lot of bands in Birmingham, like in little gigs, like 200 cap gigs, even smaller than that, like 100 cap gigs. And there was a band called Sugar Thief who always had stage invasions of their fans at these little venues. And everyone was like, oh, this is so sick, you must love it. And I remember the guitarist saying to me, oh, I hate it because they just stand on all my pedals and I get worried about my kit. Would you like or not like a stage invasion if that happens at a Murder Cap gig?
I love that it happens at hardcore shows. I don't think it could happen at our show. Our show's too tech dependent, you know. If that was a thing that happened, like, and that was like you knew that was going to happen. Like, if that band always gets it, put the pedal boards back beside the amps.
Yeah, protect them,
and then just like embrace the hardcore thing, you know. Like if fans are getting involved at the show, like try and embrace it in some kind of way. But yeah, just. My pedal board's a bit too big now, and the synth and everything. I mean, unless I can just start hanging out at the back of stage, maybe.
Yeah.
And we just embrace a hardcore incentive would be cool.
That's the energy. Yaz is saying in chat, she read that you were living in different cities while writing the album. So how did that affect the writing?
We live in different cities in general, and well, three of us are in London, one in Berlin and one in Paris,
Ooh.
and like I'm in my room here. Like I got my.
Are you one of the unlucky ones in London?
Yeah.
How'd you find it?
Honestly, I just moved rooms. I'm in the same house.
Okay.
I'm loving my new room. It's got two windows here. There's light in most of the time during the day, and it's really nice. It's inspiring, you know. But before that, like I've always kind of stayed in little coffin rooms that just. I get obsessed with work, or just kind of be working on demos, so that then we'd have stuff to bring in.
Yeah.
And everyone would have stuff to bring in, and we'd be able to just kind of sift through ideas. So, like, let's say, because we all live in different places, we'll book 2 weeks. These 2 weeks is the 2 weeks. Everyone's in one place, no matter where it is. Whether we're booking a rehearsal space in London, Paris, Berlin, Dublin, wherever the crack is, just to make whatever suits people best, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll do that, and but because it's these 2 weeks, there's like an expectation of coming in prepared and having stuff to show for it, and you know, that's why we're in different places. Like, I guess if it was, you know, if we wanted to rehearse and write regularly, we'd all have to be in the same place, and sometimes that kind of commitment to the band, you do want your own life a little bit sometimes.
I get that.
It eats a lot of your time, you know. You're away a lot from family and from friends, and just living on the road, you kind of learn that, like, let's just do anything to help, or whatever would help our heads, and whatever makes their availability for, like, writing or just touring in general more accessible, then let's do that, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think now would be a good time to bring up something I do know we have in common thanks to our tech test, which is Formula One. Because you were saying to me you're a McLaren fan. I've got the Lando Norris hat, so yeah, you're a Formula One fan. We're both Lando fans. So yeah, where does Formula One start for you? Were you watching it as a kid, maybe with a parent, or more recently got into it?
No. COVID, right? Foncest, who's in chat, we all just started playing F1.
Oh, the game,
online. Yeah. And like before, like I feel like I tried that on PlayStation before, and I was just like completely. I didn't understand how the car was like built, I guess.
Yeah.
But then Francis got really into just racing, so that like we would just give it a few goes, and then there was like 8 of us at one point just playing F1 and putting on races, and
must be chaotic.
I got really into just like actually like. Oh, my tires are going, you know, and
Bono, my tires are dead. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm driving in real life now, I'm just like imagining a race engineer in my head. Or I'm learning right now. My driving instructor's talking to me, and I'm like, "You're my race engineer," and I am Lando Norris right now, but I'm not going to speed.
Yeah, don't go there, kind of thing, you know.
Exactly. So, have you watched like Drive to Survive as well, and got a bit more into F1?
Then it was like. we were driving to the game. Drive to Survive came out. Then the new season fucking came out while the COVID season, you know, the one that was kind of all over the place. That kind of happened. And I just got into the excitement of it all, and I've been in love with it since.
I really love that. If anyone in chat is an F1 fan as well, let us know. So, and you're backing Lando for the title this season, then it was a bit of a dicey weekend, but yeah, I'm glad. There are some doubters, but I feel like I need to stand by him. I just feel like he's so hard on himself. You just want to give him a hug after every tough race.
It's crazy. Like Lewis was hard on himself. Yeah, I don't know if you watched his early ones. Like Lewis is really just. Apparently, he would just lock himself in a hotel if he'd lost a weekend. He would just lock himself in a hotel for the whole week and beat himself up, and then get ready for the next weekend. And I feel like you have to shed a part of that off if you want to get the job done. You can't. Yeah. You can't be fighting yourself that much. You know, like what service is that doing you? And a lot of the younger drivers, except for Max. I mean, Max. Oh yeah,
Max just doesn't seem. He feels pretty unflappable to me.
Yeah, but a lot of the other drivers like Leclerc and Piastri and maybe Gasly and stuff, they can beat up on themselves. Oh yeah, quite
especially
a bit.
Charles.
Especially Charles. But it's like you're the top 20. You know, you're top 20. Sorry.
Yeah, drivers in the world. Yeah, you've got to have a bit of self-belief.
Yeah, you are there. You know, you've accomplished this, and what you're competing for now is between. Like manufacturing, whether how much money's behind the team, whether your time is right, and like well, you know, like who is in the team with you? You know, do you have this like solid ground to stand on? And if it all comes together, then you can get a world champion. You know, and it's not done by one person; it's done by the whole.
It's a team. Dr. Kong, you can leave that out of chat, man. Lando will have his tummy full of Piastri's dust this season. I'm not accepting the Lando hate in chat. Yaz is saying, so that's where the karting obsession comes from. So do you guys go karting as a band together as well then?
Oh, we have, yeah.
I love that.
Somehow we were in Spain. Where were we? It kind of all blurs together, you know, at some point when you're touring. But you just remember you've been karting in different places. But we're at this auto track. And James doesn't have a driver's license, so I don't think there's like some mechanics of a car that he doesn't.
Does he know how to change gears?
Well, I don't know if he would know how to do that. No.
Okay.
But he is like fearless.
He's got the mentality.
Yeah, that's the thing is he has full mentality of it, and it's scary because he'll get the fastest lap times. He will just through that mentality alone. He is just he delivers and. I saw him, like, well, actually, I didn't actually see the actual thing happen. I was going in a corner, and the yellow lights start going up, you know?
Yeah, for yellow flags.
I was like, what happened? And I look across, and he's standing on the other side of the tires, and on top of the tires is his cart. And, I don't know if you've been karting, like, I don't know how do you get...
It's some impressive physics... laws of physics being beaten into submission by flying over that barrier. But yeah, you've got to be.
The guy was so angry. He was so angry at James. He was just like, "You're banned from this. I don't know how you've done this. Like, you're out."
Oh mate, but I got black flagged the last time I went karting as well because I had a high speed crash in a similar place. Got a bit too ambitious, but it's cool. I know another band, Cassia, when they came to Birmingham, they actually went karting. You probably have a tight schedule, but there is a karting track pretty close to where you're playing in Birmingham. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, genuinely. I think it's called Teamworks Karting, and it's honestly probably like a 5-minute drive max. So if you've got the time, have a little session.
I'll have a wee look at the schedule, and if we can fit that in, that'd be good fun.
See where it comes from. But I'm glad we both have faith in Lando to have a good season. I saw a picture of you, and it's really random, but. A picture of you on your Instagram, like when you were very young as a kid, standing at like a big synth organ, which is beautiful because my dad used to have one of those as well, and it made me wonder: are you from a musical family? Were your parents like musicians themselves, and maybe like playing on an electric organ?
No, but there's an uncle I never met. Not an uncle of mine actually. Like, I don't know if it's my dad's uncle.
Okay.
And he played saxophone in some kind of jazz band in America.
Yeah.
And they'd always say that's where I got the music from. I don't know if it's just an Irish thing, but we believe that like you get the music from someone in the family, like it travels in the blood some way. And but mom and dad were not. No, they don't play any instruments. Mom would have sing a little bit to me.
Okay.
But that organ, I think I just gravitated towards a lot of different things like that, where I'd just be putting my hands on it, and I mean,
Yeah.
that still hasn't stopped today, where I'm always trying to
Try
find
everything.
things I can make sounds out of, and even over COVID, I like built a modular system that I was
That's so cool.
I fiddle around with it much, and that same mentality is there as like a child of just trying to, time disappears if you're having fun, and when you lose yourself in an instrument, it does just disappear. Like,
Are there any instruments? Are there any instruments that you haven't been able to try that you'd love to try? I think a theremin. If you know one of those, I'd love to try a theremin, where it's like they have the field of gas and you wave your hands to make sci-fi sounds.
Oh yeah, and it's that stuff's crazy. That's like we tried that in the studio, and I just find it impossible to play.
Yeah. I'm glad you got one though. They must be quite rare.
No. You can get some. You can get yourself. We pocket one for £100 if you wanted.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go on Amazon tomorrow then. Get myself a theremin. Get some like Muse sounds going on.
No, I would love to try. I'm not gonna pronounce this right, but I think it's called a gunjig.
Okay.
And it's like it's a Chinese traditional instrument, where it's a table with a load of strings on it.
Oh
and,
yeah.
The bridge of each string is like it's kind of like diagonal across the board.
Yeah.
And you pluck with this hand, so the notes will be ringing out on this side, and then on the other side you can have your fingers on the strings to bend and push to make these like pitch bends and
I love that.
And I don't know how it's tuned or whatever, but I'd love to have a spin and see
yeah.
if it inspired anything.
We've got to make that happen. There you go. Clovam says, I love that instrument. I feel like I might have seen a video of that as well. So we've got to make it happen. I don't know if you're a fan of Black Country New Road, but I know their new album is out. I saw them on Friday. And I feel like if you look at just the list of different instruments they have on that record, even that they're playing on stage, it's just, you're kind of there in awe. Like, it's so beautiful instrumental.
There's more.
There's more.
There's more. I actually didn't realize the record came out. I'll have to give that a listen.
Yeah. Forever How Long is out. Forever How Long is out. It came out recently, actually, very recently. I think it was last week. And yeah, my album of the year so far.
Lovely.
Apart from Murder Capitals, of course. Yeah.
No, it's been heard.
It's been heard. All right, a few more questions. I appreciate you sparing so much of your time this evening, by the way. I've really enjoyed this chat. So, questions from chat. Arnold says, is there a chance for a leg 2 regarding European tour end of 2025, for example, like what you did with Clown's Reflection tour in 2023?
We have US dates on that other side of things, so it's not really been talked about yet. What we'll do, I mean, I personally would love to get into record again or do something creative on that side of the year. Just I want to get the. I feel like we're on a bit of a buzz at the moment, and we just want to pump out another record.
Absolutely, I know the feeling. And on that subject from Clovam, more festival announcements coming soon, or anything for the summer?
No, probably everything. I think we're busy most weekends. You know what I mean? There's only so many weekends.
Yeah, there's a limit. You're not like headlining Glastonbury or anything, and it hasn't been announced yet.
No. The fee was too low.
Oh, typical. Well, what can you do? That'll be next year then. Arnold also wants to know: are there tracks recorded for Blindness but not released on the album at the moment? Could you do a deluxe version?
There was 2 tracks that didn't make it on it, but just not everyone's agreement, like whether they were finished or not.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd ever come out or see the light of day.
If they did, what would you call it? Because it's a bit of a trend now. Like Charlie XCX had like Brat, and it's entirely different, but it's the same but entirely different. Or you had like, what was Ariana Grande's one? Like of Eternal Sunshine. Basically different words of deluxe versions. Like Brighter Days version was what Ariana had, or the anthology Taylor Swift Torture Poets Department.
Wait, hold on a second. What's the back to Ariana Grande there?
Eternal Sunshine Deluxe.
Just make like a happier version.
Brighter Days. I mean, that's the name of the deluxe album. Brighter Days Ahead I mean, there's a banger on there. Twilight Zone's a banger. One of the deluxe tracks. I wish you hadn't cut it.
I do like. Oh, so so these are like tracks that didn't make the album. Like it's one of those.
Yeah.
ones.
So it's basically like they release the album again with the bonus tracks and they give it a new name. So they call it like the Brighter Days Ahead version or the Brat, but it's a completely different version.
But
So-
it is a different version.
Yeah,
Like,
well, it's extended.
I like that.
I
like
know, I like it. I just find it funny. But do you know what would you call it? Blindness, the blank version.
Blindness. Oh fuck! Man, the lyrics, the word side of things is not my. You know what I mean?
It's not your
You want me to play
forte.
Guitar, I'll write new guitarists over the same songs. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
But I'll leave the naming to James.
And if you could have one artist do a remix for that deluxe version, who would you go with? I'm guessing maybe a hyperpop artist.
Oh no, I'd love to see
Okay.
Floating Points remix.
That's an amazing one. I saw them live at Green Man Festival ages ago,
Nice.
and they were so good. So that's a strong,
Yeah.
that's a strong pick. Would you guys work with John Congleton again for the next record?
I mean,
Says-
we work with John. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if for the next record, again, we had this like conversation with this one as well. Like working with John is great, and we feel like we found our guy in many ways, you know. And
Yeah.
but you also like you're always tempted as well by the you know, you end up doing some window shopping too, you know. Like we'd work with whoever felt right, and John is definitely one of those people that we're very comfortable with.
Yeah.
But depending on what music comes out, whatever we try and move forward with, well, we just gotta weigh it up. But no comms working with John again. We love John.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like the product, you know, it speaks for itself, so that works. Happy to ask all your questions, Arnaud, and merci beaucoup, monsieur. So from Paris, I'm guessing. I wish I could say more. I wish I could say more in French, but bonsoir to you, and yeah. Petit peu. Merci bien. How do you say watch? I've forgotten how to say watch in French, but the A level will come back to me. Paris is a beautiful city. What was the venue you played in Paris? Because I know I've been to Supersonic with a band before, and I love Supersonic.
Oh, man, I'm so bad at the French venue names. I always mix them up. I know we've done like La Cigale, and then there's one that's like it's called like Troubler or Trouble or something.
La Cigale?
Yeah, no, I'm pissing off the French.
Oh no, I love it. Any attempts?
I think they'll know the one that starts with a T. It's is it Proxy maybe or something? It's near the park.
Le Trianon or Le Tribendo?
Yeah,
that
one.
That one.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of beautiful places in that city, and I think it's a great city for live music. Yeah, I think we got all the questions. La Trianon is next, and Alice had a friend that sent me a video of Safe Sound from the Grand Social Show, but I know that one didn't make Blindness, so there is that track from Blindness.
Yeah, John wasn't a fan of it.
Oh.
No. We ended up like trying to record that one day, and we never got far with it. But that was one I really loved. I was buzzing about. Yeah, John wasn't a fan of that one, and it just it was kind of ones we just moved on. We just tried different things, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe it wouldn't have suited this record.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll revisit.
Yeah, overruled. Well, Cathal, thank you so much for this conversation and for sparing like, you know, an hour and 20 to talk to me. I've really loved this, and yeah, I hope we can catch up in person in Birmingham when you're here as well.
Yeah, and hit me up for any guests and that
I
sort
will
of.
do.
But yeah, thanks for having me. This
Oh,
has been
it's a
really fun.
pleasure. It's a pleasure. So if people want to follow the Murder Capital and, you know, support you guys and they don't already, what are the best places for them to go? I'm guessing, you know, buy a copy of the album and a ticket to see you live.
Yeah, our gig is our main thing. I honestly, if you're kind of on the fence with us, I'd really recommend coming to a show. It's something I'm really proud of. Like before you're buying a record, whatever like that, just come see us live and make your mind up there. Tickets are on our website, themurdercapital.com, and if you're into us and if you're a fan, come check us out or go into our Discord. We do loads of different kind of, I don't know, everyone in there seems to have fun. You know? We throw in
different live streams, or we have a ticket lottery as well. If people want to throw in the city that they live in and the date of our gig and their name, then potentially we could just give them a guest list, you know?
Absolutely. That's so cool. And thank you guys in chat as well. I don't know, I feel like this kind of thing is so much better for artists than being forced to make a lot of TikToks. And if you guys are giving it a lot of energy, I hope that going forwards, it can become a bit more of the norm than whatever the alternative is. Well, thank you so much again, Cathal. And I'd love to play another track from Blindness to play you out. Do you have any particular recommendations that I could play for you now as your outro music?
Outro Trailing Away.
Trailing Away, amazing.
Trailing Away. Trailing
a Wing. Yeah, Trailing a Wing is the outro, the final track on the album. I was saying earlier, I was thinking earlier when I was listening to it, I always like judging albums by the final track, because sometimes the final track is like really kind of epic and bombastic. Like I love Muse, and they have like Megalomania, or I'm trying to think what Romance by Fontaines DC Romance ends on Favourite, so that's a good one. And I think Trailing a Wing, you've done well. It's a good final track, so it's a worthy outro.
I appreciate that.
Well, big love, Cathal. I hope you hit that karting track in Birmingham, and I'll catch you soon, mate. Take care.
Alright, thanks. Have a good one. Thanks
you too, mate. Bye-bye. Oh, that was beautiful, man. What a legend. And thank you guys for being awesome. Tim on YouTube moment. What's up, Matilda? You literally just joined at the end of this interview. I love doing these interviews. It just become podcasts. Thank you guys, Murder Capital fam. You guys are all legends. Thank you for your energy. Please hit subscribe if you enjoyed that interview and want to see more like it. I've done a lot of interviews with great bands that I'm sure you'll love, just like the Murder Capital. I'm normally live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Tim Senna. I'm temporarily not on Twitch, but I will be back on there on Friday. So just give me a follow on Instagram as well, instagram.com/Tim Senna, if you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing. And as requested by Cathal, this is Trailing a Wing. Find his feelings, don't want nothing you won't believe.